welcome everyone to episode 2 of our Scale Up Guide webinar. Apologies, we're a little bit late. We've also got one of our guests late as well, but we have been joined by Chris South. Chris has been in the industry now for well over a decade. Have I got here? Have I got that right? Or 2 decades?
Yeah, I think let's not talk about it. Longer than that, yeah.
Way longer.
Way longer,
yeah.
too long.
So Chris heads up Roy AI. Pleasure to have you on, Chris.
Yeah, nice to be here. Nice to be chatting. Good subject.
Yeah, great. Awesome subject. So we're going to be talking about recruitment tech and automation that actually helps. Obviously, there's a lot of noise and there's a lot of options of tech and AI that you can be using. So yeah, the purpose of today, bring on the people that can help us and guide us into using the right solutions. And
it looks like Ryan's just jumped in as well, Darren.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Ryan, on time as usual.
Sorry, mate. I've had a nightmare.
We're actually live on the webinar, by the way.
Oh, okay. Apologies.
Yeah. Keep it clean.
Yes, no. It's my team have transferred me from Outlook to Gmail, and I've also gone from Windows to Mac all in the same week. And it's just ruined my life, basically.
Okay. So someone that's advising people on the webinar to stay on tech is not very good at tech. So that's a great way to intro you. So Ryan Howson, do you want to give us a quick intro to yourself?
Yes. So I'm the founder of Managed. So we are essentially a business that help recruitment agencies scale through people and technology, whether that be through local on-site hires, offshore, or through AI and automation.
Awesome. Appreciate you coming on, Ryan, even if it is a few minutes late. So to kick off, we've got a few questions we're going to run through. First one, I'll probably throw to you, Chris. When it comes to recruitment technology, what do you think separates tools that generally help from those that just add a bit of noise or too much noise?
Yeah, I think it's such a timely question, right? Because every recruitment director you speak to has the same problem. There's just so many options out there, and you could spend your whole life doing demos across the board with different things, and a lot of it is just noise. I mean, they're all good ideas, but how much value do each individual app actually add? So my view there is bad tools. If you've got chaos in your business and you add a tool in, if it digitizes that chaos, it's probably not a good tool. So it's amplifying what you're already doing. Not a good idea. What you want is something that takes away things that the recruiters have to do on a daily basis and frees their time up to work on what you want them to be doing. Excuse me. And so that's generally engaging with people, right? So a good tool is doing things that is not involved with communicating with people too much or not at a particularly high level, and enables the recruiter to then focus on having good qualified conversations with either clients or candidates. One other point on that I would make is quite often you can bring a tool in and you think it's going to optimize things, but it actually just makes the recruiters busy being busier. Like they're learning the new tool, and so it becomes an excuse from doing the work because they're saying, "Oh, I'm involved in this tool over here or working with this." So you want to bring in tools that don't have too much of a learning curve for the recruiters, or that you can get a couple of people up to speed and using before starting to bring everyone else in, so you're not distracting them again from the core to try and learn a tool, particularly if it's something you're not entirely sure is correct. So it's quite a long-winded answer of saying it's very hard to figure out what is noise and what is not noise. The simplest way I would look at it is, does it have a really deep integration with your current database? And are your peers using it? Ask around in the networking groups that exist out there, and if you've got many of your peers using it, it's a common tool, then it's probably something that's good. If there's not a lot of people using it, or people have used it and moved on, then perhaps not so.
Yeah, nice. Have you got anything to add there, Ryan?
Yeah, I would say just that from my experience, a lot of agencies are looking for that silver bullet as well. So I think there's not one piece of tech out there that is going to solve all your problems and allow you to sit on the beach and drink cocktails. So I think identifying the right tool for the right job and just understanding that it's not going to solve all your problems as well. So I think it's an expectation setting piece that's quite important on that as well, just to add.
That's such a good point. The amount of calls we're on where the recruitment director says, I want something that does this, which effectively what they're describing is the whole recruitment process. And if a tool did that, we'd all be out of business. And I think the good news is we're a long way off having a tool that is going to take over the whole recruitment process. So that means that very much there's still a job for us as recruiters.
Yeah, great. Brian, so this one for you, mate. So automation is obviously a massive big buzzword at the moment, but what does it actually look like in the recruitment world when it's done well?
Yeah, so I think that there's lots of pieces of the process that you can automate, right? So obviously you've got your back office stuff, which is simple stuff like processing placements, invoicing, and all of your back office. Then you've got your middle office, and then front office. And I think where a lot of businesses are focused, especially the smaller agencies, is that front office piece. So trying to win new customers, right? Essentially, your go-to-market piece. And what a lot of them are finding is that, AI and automation, if you're accelerating a bad message, you're just accelerating bad results. So what they have to work on first is really understanding their offering, their message, their go-to-market, and to take a step back to think, what is going to resonate with my buyer? What's the pain points? What problems are they facing? And then you've got to almost test your hypothesis in small little bite-sized chunks, and then look to scale that. So where we focus is on the front end, front office, so the go-to-market piece. And I speak to so many recruitment founders that I say, right, what's your USP, or what pain points are your customers facing? And it's shocking how little they know about their customer, and then they wonder why they're struggling with acquiring new customers, because they're using the old outdated method, which is spray and pay, volume numbers game. Whereas the ones that we're seeing having lots of success are the ones that have been really, really smart with their approach, being value-based, adding value, being community focused, and not when they're scaling that, they're essentially offering something, right? So it might be a community, a network, and they're going in with that angle, offering something to their buyer, and then building the relationship off the back of that then turns into recruitment. Whereas the ones that are going in really recruitment heavy, hey, we can do this, we can do that, is falling on deaf ears. So I think in terms of the automation piece, it's about really defining your go-to-market strategy, your buyer's pain points, your way in, and then looking to automate and scale that. And really, it's quite easy to do. Once you've got a message that resonates, the scaling piece is actually pretty easy to do.
Yeah, nice. Have you got any examples of what type of value people could be using?
Yeah. So I've got one customer that has really high response rate, and mostly does a LinkedIn only automation, just because it doesn't need to go down any other route because the response rate so high. But he has a CTO community where he connects. So he hires software engineers, and one of the problems, his buyer is CTOs typically, and when he was speaking to CTOs, he found a common theme that they're all struggling to engage with people at their level, because obviously in one organization there's typically one CTO. So when they want to speak to someone about problems or pains or what they're facing, it has to be external. No one in the business is facing the same problems. So what he realized is that there's no group for these CTOs to connect casually and network. So he put that group together where he holds monthly meetups in person, a WhatsApp community where they can all jump on and talk about, problems, fears, all of that kind of stuff. And he's just the connector. So what he does is he reaches out to CTOs, mentions that he's running this WhatsApp community, and invites them in. And then they respond saying, yeah, would love to, be interesting, because it's a common problem that they're facing. Tells a bit of a story about how it's helping others. And then before he invites them into the group, he organizes a phone call or a meeting in person to vet them, to sort of set the guardrails of what the community is about, the do's, the don'ts. And by that time, he's already built rapport, he knows the person, and then he just nurtures that relationship ongoing. Ask for recruitment, but yet he's he, you know, I think he messaged me the other day, you know, I can't remember the exact number, but he's generated over $500,000 within 12 months from that group alone in recruitment fees. Never asked for recruitment. They're coming to him.
Yeah, wow.
So that's
I love
one.
that.
Yeah, that's one example that works really, really well. Another one would be around sort of getting really, really clever on, and I know we've talked about this before, Darren, is your signals and intent. So what a lot of agencies focus on is the company hiring. Have the company raised funds? Now, every man and his dog can find that information out. So by the time you've got it, it's too late. It's actually spotting signals much earlier than that. So what you want to do is do a complete market map of your entire universe, feed that into your database, have that sat in within your database, but then run automations within your database across both candidates and clients for any triggers or movement within your universe. So one might be that the company's just hit 20 in headcount and they've got no finance manager. I'm just making this up, by the way, but if you're a finance recruiter, you'll know at what stage companies typically hire their first finance person, right? So then if the company's just hit that trigger, you can then reach out to the CEO, founder, and say, hey, notice you just hit 20 heads. You must be pulling your hair out. This is how we've helped competitor or someone similar hire their first finance manager. And this is what he had to say about it. Worth a chat. So getting really smart on your triggers and running automations in your universe is where this pays dividends. It's not about tracking jobs, who's hiring. You've got to, again, it comes back to understanding your customers, your pain points, the triggers, when they typically hire, what pains they're typically feeling at what stage, and then scaling that.
Yeah, nice. Back to you, Chris. So talking about adopting new tech, from your perspective, what's the common mistakes agencies are making?
Yeah, just before I go into that, Darren, I'll just support Ryan's point there, because I think it's such a good point that he was making. I found it really interesting, Ryan, that the first example you gave is almost nothing to do with automation or tech, right? That's old school recruitment, building a community, and that's so important. One of the things we've noticed is the agencies that really generate huge value from automation are those that log into our platform or any other platform they're using. They see the templates there, and then they tear them apart and customize them absolutely crazy to their own brand, their own voice. Whereas 7 out of 10 customers, they come in, they grab a template, they use exactly what's there, and they fire it out, and they get okay results. But it's what everyone else is doing without any customization. So it's not about trying to get your tool switched on and enabled in the fastest way possible. It's about taking the time to really think about, like, how does this tool mirror us and represent what we are as a brand, and how do we distinguish ourselves in the market? And to your point, Ryan, like, sometimes automation is not the answer. Like, you need to look at other stuff because that gets forgotten very, very easily. So sorry, Darren, I just thought that was a point worth mentioning.
It's a good value add. Yeah. Thanks.
Common mistakes, like, I mean, I just covered one, right? Just not personalizing stuff. But the other one is a lot of recruitment agencies have process. And when you actually start peeling back and saying, why do you have that process? The common answer is, oh, we just do. That's just the way we've always done it. And that might be because the database they were using used to work in one way, but has evolved into another way. It might be because they had that process before they even used a database, or before AI existed, or before automation existed. So when you're implementing something, it's really important to actually look at the processes in the business and what do you want those processes to be for a successful business before you move to automation, rather than going, here's my process, build an automation to match that existing process. Because if you've got something that's wrong or causes a problem, you're just amplifying it by adding automation onto the end of it. So it's a really, really good excuse. I'm going to implement some automation. Firstly, let's take it back. Let's document the processes we have. That's pretty easy to do. Let's review them, talk to the team. Does this make sense? And then move into that automation side of things. I think if they can solve that one, it generally makes things far, far better in terms of the end results.
Yeah, great. So how do businesses have that balance between tech-driven efficiency and maintaining that human touch?
From my side, I think it's figuring out if tech doesn't do it, does a human touch actually occur? And you can't build automation around the best person in your business. At the same time, you can't build automation around the worst person in the business. But you've got to build it across what average looks like in your organization. You've got to give the people that want to do human touch and really want to engage a lot with their customers. You've got to give them the opportunity to do that. But you've got to make sure automation is a fail-safe and covers the base for those in the business that either don't want to do it or don't get to that particular area. And I think Ryan will probably talk to this because I suspect it's the same for outsourcing. You've got to pick your battles, right? Automation can't do some of the stuff that recruiters can do. And that's the good news, because that's what keeps us in business. So in my eyes, you want to automate things that are repetitive, administrative, don't require huge amounts of skill, and are obviously volume based. That's where automation really comes into its own. Whereas if it's personalized, if it's evaluating someone's fit for a high profile role, yes, you can ask a couple of questions for automation, but you probably still need a human to come in the middle there. And again, if you're trying to differentiate your brand, and you run automation across everything, there could be an opportunity to not automate a couple of things and actually say, no, we're going to, this is what we're all about as a business. We're going to keep this piece human because that's who we are. And there's one agency in Sydney that does that really, really well. They're all about customer service. And whilst I generally advise people not to notify the recruiter to do things because they're busy and they move on to other things, this agency said to the business, hey, this is what we stand for. We are going to let you know when you need to do this. We're not going to do everything, but these are the core things that we think need a human touch. And so we're trusting you as a business to do these on a personal level rather than putting automation through. And because they haven't said it's one rule, everything's automated or everything's human touch, it's just these critical touch points, it means that the recruiters actually do it because they haven't got to do loads. And it really does help elevate their brand. So yeah, pick what you want automating, but try not to automate everything would be my message on that one.
Yeah. Potentially outsourcing could be a good option, Ryan. So probably flows nicely into this one. How can outsourcing and automation work together to help agencies scale without adding too much complexity?
I think for recruiters that the way people buy has changed and evolved so much, and I think it takes a lot more time now for recruiters to do the whole 360 piece. So you've got to be so focused on your personal brands in the community, building content, adding value, whether that be networks, events, webinars. It all takes time. And then also, so where I think the outsourcing piece comes in is that you've got an automation that could be lifting, and then outsourcing to do a lot of the laborious work, where the recruiter can spend, or the client-facing person can actually do that and spends much more time client-facing. Like when we speak to recruitment agencies, how many of them are frustrated that their highly paid consultants are just hidden behind a laptop in the office all the time, sourcing for CVs, and they almost hide behind it sometimes. So it enables people to have no excuse in that front, and they need to be fully client focused. So I think it enables recruiters to spend time in the places where they can add the most value. And to Chris's point, like AI and automation doesn't fit every aspect. It's like little things. Let's say, during a recruitment process, there's so many things that you wish you were doing. How many times have you spoke to someone and they've told you that when their birthday is, or a little bit about their kids, and you just forget it, right? You might write it down in your notepad and then it's gone. With AI and automation now, you can transcribe that call. It can automatically go into the CRM, and then it can sit against the notes file. And then next time you speak to that person, it's really easy to just quickly find out those notes, and you can touch points on that. You can even run automations around, send them a birthday card on their birthday, and then it's that human touch again. So you can have your outsourced consultant do the admin on that, right? Everyone that I've spoke to that's mentioned their birthday or whatever, can we just set up a little card to go out to people on their birthdays? So you can add that human touch in through automation and outsourcing without you having to send out 100 birthday cards a year or think about it. You can think about the idea, have your outsourced consultant action it, but have your AI and automation record it essentially. So it enables more human-led.
I love that, Ryan, and it's something I've actually seen a couple of our agencies do really, really well, like exactly to your point. So everyone's got a birthday automation running that says, oh, it's your birthday, happy birthday. Your dentist does it, right? It's commonplace. You're not adding any value. But I hadn't actually thought about doing without outsourcing, but a couple of our agencies have an alert that goes out a week before the birthday to someone internally. And they then prepare a gift. Now, not for everyone, but just for their temps or competitor temps. And so actually a little box of chocolates or whatever it is goes out and says happy birthday. That brand has suddenly gone from here to here. And yeah, if you're sending it to an outsourced team, it's even cheaper to do. And there's no one doing that, like 1, 2, 3 businesses. That's such a point of differentiation and such a merge of the two.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. That's where I think it really adds value, is like, how can we be more human-led through AI, automation, even outsourcing, and it almost gives you the headspace to think about these things. Whereas when you're a busy recruiter that's got to handle everything, you're so stuck in the weeds that you can never think about these types of approaches or strategies. Whereas it gives you that thinking space. So the recruiters that are using it to like really turbocharge the human-led approach will see results. Those ones that are using it to be a little bit more lazy and then do as little as possible and not enhance their offering will struggle.
So what are some of the, I suppose, exciting opportunities for businesses when it comes to automation? Like, to give me top 2 or 3.
Well, I think I've just started a rec-to-rec arm of our business, and within, before the person's even started, I've got the entire Australia marketplace, every single recruitment agency, every single recruiter that works within those recruitment agencies, and every single owner, director, founder within those agencies, all mapped out into a database. So when day one, when Eva joined, she had the whole universe in there. And then we also have her app connected up to the database. We have her calls transcribed. We have her LinkedIn account transcribed against all of those individuals. So any conversation she has with anyone outside of the CRM, it goes against that candidate record, whether it be email, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, phone call, all goes against that candidate record, so that we never miss a beat, we never lose anything. And then within that database, we can search people based on those conversations that we've had. So it might be, find me a recruiter that is looking for X, or mention that they want Y, and it will bring them up in our search. And then we've got a load of automations and triggers sat within that CRM. Anytime anyone hits a certain milestone, we get triggered. Anytime anyone moves jobs, we get triggered. And there's loads of different triggers that are already set up in there. So, if you think back even just 2 years, when someone joined your recruitment business, how long would it take for them to go and map out their market? It'd probably be in an Excel spreadsheet that they'll take with them when they left anyway. And their notes would be all over the place. There'd be nothing in the database. So I think that's really exciting in terms of you can do so much more with so much less. That's probably the biggest one, just real, like, it's fresh in my brain because we're going through it and implementing it ourselves at the moment.
Yeah, actually, if I look at my notes here, I said agencies have a huge opportunity to reclaim ownership of their proprietary data, right? And so that was my main point, and it pretty much mirrors exactly what you've said. Like, at the moment, we're beholden to job boards and LinkedIn and other platforms, and the recruiters are running like crazy around all these different platforms, and they have a conversation here and a conversation here, and it's not all mapped back into one. We're just on the cusp. It sounds like you've done it, Ryan, but like for most, it's becoming mainstream, where your central database can be the source of truth. It can have updated quality data in there relatively easy these days. It can link to the other channels that you're actually using. You can put AI in. I mean, even in the last week or so, right, there's products out there like Make and N8N, which enable you to link ChatGPT with various different tools. But now you can link ChatGPT directly into your CRM with their latest release, right? So all of a sudden, you've got the power of AI straight into your database. You've got your database with really good quality data. So for me, like as a recruiter, I think we're nearly at a point where your database can actually do what we used to say 10 years ago, where I've got a database of 50,000 and that's my competitive advantage. It wasn't because the data was so bad, but we're now moving to a point where I think if we can get that data good using the tools and technology that's out there, it can really stand your business out amongst your peers, but also enable you to compete with in-house teams. Obviously, they have access to LinkedIn and databases and those sort of things, but you're going to have a better source of data and better ways of actually accessing that talent. So yeah, I had exactly the same point of where I think the biggest opportunity is.
Can you share any of the names of the pieces of tech that you're using to do this?
Yeah, so I've actually hired an in-house developer. So he's employed by the business, and his core function is to build out these automations across our different brands. So we use a combination of N8N, Apify, we use Get Sales or Lemlist, we use Clay, we use Common Room. There's a whole suite of tools, but we also do custom scripting as well. So I think, moving further ahead, I think it won't be uncommon for recruitment agencies to have an in-house technical person, an in-house developer, coder, or GTM engineer, because you do need it if you're looking to build this out internally. You do need someone who's technical minded. But yeah, there's some of the common ones that we leverage.
But what about just like from like you're talking about note takers or ones that can pre-fill your CRM?
Review.
Right, yeah. So we use
Guide.
So we use Atlas. Atlas is the CRM that we use, recruitwithatlas.com, because they have a lot of the automations built in. The WhatsApp integration is built into Atlas. So you connect your number and it just transfers everything over. They connect with Ring Over or Ring Central. There's quite a few phone-based ones that they connect with. We've used, in our outsourcing business, obviously, our agencies that we work with use a variety of different ones. So VXC is another one that's sort of APAC based. That's pretty good, that I've recommended in the past. And then yeah, they're the main ones from within the database that we use. AI note takers, I mean, we're on Fireflies, but I've just switched over to Google Workplace. So we use Google's note taker now, which is built in with your suite that you're already paying for. Atlas has
on the note takers, you've got Quill and RecView are the two that I've seen people using a lot recently that integrate with, I guess, the more traditional databases out there. I think you're right, Ryan. Like there's definitely, like, what you're doing. There'll be a bunch of people on this call who go, right, I want to do what Ryan's done, and like the reality of, like, you're an early adopter, right? You've pulled this stuff in, you've hired an engineer, you've actually built the workflows, you've N8N and all that sort of stuff together. There'll be a few agencies that can do that and actually manage that, but you've got to have someone at the top that knows what they're doing, or engage a consultant to pull you on that journey. I think there'll be a mid-ground in 6, 12, 18 months where a lot of what Ryan's described becomes natively available in most databases, either through external providers or the database is actually catching up on that side of things. So yeah, there's definitely an opportunity to get ahead of the game and do something like Ryan's done, but I suspect that most will catch up over time, just with the actual mainstream tech that comes available. But it's the same with us with automation. Like the businesses that do really well, they might not have a developer in-house, but they've definitely got someone that knows how to manage, build automation, which is kind of a new role. It's a hybrid marketing ops type position, and the forward-thinking businesses are really leaning heavily into that.
Yeah,
and I also think that the tighter your universe, the easier this is to do. If you recruit everyone and everything, it's really hard because your universe is always growing, always evolving, and the sheer data is huge. But if you hire, if your business just focuses on data scientists in New York, let's say, right? It's a simple, you're either a data scientist or you're not. You're either in New York or you're not. So to run automations on that universe is simple. But if you hire tech people in the United States, that's obviously a whole different beast and much more complex. So I think the smaller businesses or the smaller recruitment agencies that operate in real niches will win in the short term on the AI and automation piece, just because it's so much easier to adopt. Whereas the larger ones have got a bit more of a complex problem to solve there.
Yeah, it's a level in the playing field with the really big guys, though, isn't it? Because they're going to really, really struggle to keep ahead, and small to medium businesses will be able to catch up. So again, there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, massively. Yeah.
Yeah. So talking about it, like obviously that's the opportunities, but what's the risks?
Risk, I see there's a lot of sharks out there. So even some of the people selling the AI and automation piece, one thing that I've realized is that if you don't understand recruitment and you're selling this software, and you're typically selling to SaaS businesses, recruitment is a whole different game. And they just don't understand it. So they really struggle to understand what's important for recruitment agencies, the buying signals. They're used to sort of, I suppose, automating a product, let's say a tool like Canva or Fireflies, right? It's an AI note taker. It's low ticket value. It's $20 a month or whatever. It's just about scaling it, pushing it into as many people as we can. Whereas recruitment is a much more high ticket, longer buying cycle, so many different parts. You said obviously working with people, humans on both sides, your product side and your client side. So it's just much more complex. So I think partnering with providers that actually understand recruitment in the AI and automation space, they're either specialists in working with recruitment agencies or have come from an agency background, so they get your world, is huge, because there's a lot of sort of charlatans out there promising the world, and it's all smoke and mirrors. So I think that's one big risk. And then also on the flip side of that is sort of, getting stuck because you've tried it once and it didn't work, not sort of pushing on and trying again. This happens a lot on the outsourcing side, but also on the AI and automation. It might be, I bought this piece of tech and it didn't work, so I'm just not going to do it anymore. Where it's kind of like you do need to try things, because it might not work for your business, it might not work for you, it might not work just at that period of time. But it's about finding out pretty quickly, and not letting it drag out for too long if it doesn't work for your business, or you're with the wrong provider or whatever it is. But don't let that get you stuck in sort of paralysis.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And I would actually split AI and automation into two camps at the moment. And I've got a really good example of a big customer that we onboarded, and we've been going 5 years now, and we weren't the first in the automation space. And when they first onboarded with us, we weren't the right product for them 5 years ago. And we went backwards and forwards for 3 to 4 months trying to make something work. And in the end, it was just, it was not right. The tech didn't solve their problem. And we've kept in touch, and only now they've now come back and said, okay, we're going to go again. And we think now automation's moved on to such a degree, and it's moved from that early stage product to being an established product. You kind of know what you're going to get with automation. And so now is a good time for them to relook at this. But to their credit, they haven't completely said, no, we've done it once, we're not doing it again. They've realized that technology has moved on and they actually need to have another look at it, and does it now work for their business? Whereas with AI, it's been in mainstream for a couple of years, but it's still in its infancy. It's still making all sorts of mistakes. All the entrepreneurs that are trying to build businesses around it are failing fast, sticking stuff up, and it's either working or it's not going. You've got the big beasts building out products that are probably going to solve most of our problems, but they're not really paying any attention to the recruitment sector. So the recruitment sector's got to mainly be done by the entrepreneurs within it or the established database providers. So with automation, I think the risk is pretty low these days. Like you can comfortably get in there as long as you've got someone advising you well, who's got some established knowledge and credentials. Then I think you're going to be in a good place. With AI, there's still a lot of risk out there, and I think the biggest risk is just wasting time, to be frank, and not really Skynet taking over or anything like that. It's just if AI solves a problem and it's a good thing that does a small problem, then bring it in, but don't waste ages looking for what Ryan was saying, the silver bullet solution. It kind of doesn't exist out there at the moment. Give it some time. Don't feel that you've got to get an AI solution into your business right now. Get small ones in, celebrate the big wins, and just wait for the technology to push on a little bit.
Yeah, and I would also just add to that as well. It's don't expect AI or automation to bring business to you, right? So you still got to put in the work. It enables you just to work quicker, smarter, but you've still got to put in the work. It's not like you can implement AI, you're going to send a load of emails and all of a sudden you're drowned in work. That's just not, it's not the case now, and it's only going to be less and less of the case. I think LinkedIn are getting a lot tighter on people scraping their data, and probably rightly so, because within my business now we've got a whole universe in the database. Why do I need LinkedIn? I don't need a LinkedIn. I've got the whole database within my database. So they're going to make it harder and harder. As you can automate more, it's going to be people are going to be less responsive to your outbound. So they're going to be responsive to people that they know and they trust. So personal brand, communities is going to be only rise more and more, especially within sort of candidate markets where, let's say before, if you were running a search on a software developer, you'd run a search on LinkedIn Recruiter, you could send 100 emails, 30 or 40 would come back to you, and you'd get your placement from that. That's only going to diminish, and your in-mails are going to get more expensive but less results. So it's about making sure that those people within your universe know you and come to you, or you can keep in touch with more regularly, those human touch points, so that when they are looking, they come to you and no one else.
So that's going back more about your personal brand.
Yeah, I think that's where, again, using AI and automation to help you spend time in the right places, which is personal brand and building tight-knit communities, investing into your universe, and adding value, not just saying, hey, do you want a job? Hey, transactional. Spend more time investing into that, so they know who you are, not just from, hey, do you want a job?
Yeah, and I think it would give you more intel on that person as well. So that first phone call that you make to them, you got a lot, like say, you can add value, but you know more about their backgrounds. They're probably more receptive to the call as well. I think that's definitely important. Just
on
moving
the
back
phone call point, Darren, like,
oh, sorry, Chris, you go.
From our own business, we're obviously reaching out to recruitment agencies day in, day out, and we're using all the strategies that we would normally use for our customers. We're email marketing, we're running automations, all that sort of stuff. Our best results, phone call.
Yeah.
People answer the call, we're having a conversation, we're learning stuff, we're adopting to their pain points. Like, the phone still works. It's just freeing the recruiters up so they can spend the time doing it and hiring people that want to do it as well.
Yeah, I have so much noise in my inbox. Like, I would say 90% of the emails I get now are outbound sales emails. And do I read them? No, I don't read them. They literally just get filed away. I don't read them. But if someone calls me, I'm probably more open to taking that phone call and having a chat.
100%.
That's it. Everyone go pitch Darren. His number's
Cut that part
04.
out. Yeah, yeah. Oh, classic. I just wanted to move back to the outsourcing part. So yeah, obviously we're talking a lot about tech and automation. Obviously, outsourcing, there's a good opportunity there, but what are the common areas that processes can be best suited to outsourcing?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, look, we specialize in servicing recruitment agencies. We started out where we only hired delivery consultants. So, I'm based in the Philippines. I work with the team, coach them on best practice. So we were only focused on the delivery piece, essentially. So freeing up the consultants to spend more time with clients, go and win more work, and then offloading the heavy lifting manual scraping through LinkedIn, I try to identify the right person, and then crafting outbounds, cold calling those candidates, and essentially bringing it down to a shortlist for a role. And that's worked really, really well. So that is definitely the number one piece that we help with from an outsourcing perspective, is that heavy lifting of candidate search, source, screening, qualification. But there is also, a whole heap of other areas that we now focus on, which is adding a lot more value, because the delivery piece is still very much business critical. So it is, let's say, it's a high pressure role for a business, which not every recruitment agency can afford to lose that control over. Whereas other areas that they can gain is, marketing, back office support, finance, admin, and EAs. So enabling you to get unstuck from all of the heavy lifting that comes with running a business or running a desk. Those little things that I touched on about, enabling you to be more human led. You can think of the idea, but you necessarily have to execute it. And for $2,000 a month, you can hire a full-time EA who will essentially take all of the manual tasks away from you. So you've got a clear head. All you've got to focus about is clients, revenue, community, brand, and it can even help you enable on that in terms of scheduling your posts, creating, helping you with your personal branding piece as well. So anything that really bogs you down, where you're not spending time on client facing, revenue generating, you can outsource and get help for.
Yeah, no, that's good advice. Like, one of the things that I've done over probably the last couple of years is any repetitive task I need to do, I just write it down until I've got a big enough list that I can pass it over to someone to do for me.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people that I speak to, they struggle with what to. As recruiters, we're told from day one, control every step of the process, control everything. So what that makes us is control freaks. So we hate letting go. I work with a client who has an EA, but didn't want to have the EA access his emails. And I was like, well, that's, I had to really educate him and take him on a journey to let go. And, now he's texting me going, oh my God, I can't believe how much this is helping. So I think one piece is knowing what to let go of. And I always advise, write down everything just for a week, write down everything that you either don't like doing, know you shouldn't be doing, or is not revenue generating. Just write it down. And then you'll compile a big list, and then you can split that into role functions. Okay, is that marketing? Is that this? Is that that? And then also take a step back and look at, what should you be doing? What are you not doing, right, for the business? Whether that be marketing, whether that be strategy, whether that be growth, whatever it encompasses, what are you not doing? Okay, should you be hiring someone in that space? Because as recruiters, we might be great salespeople, we might be great at placing people in jobs, not always the best at branding, not always the best at marketing. So hiring people in those areas as well.
Just laughing because we've got someone in marketing called Brandon. You say Brandon or branding?
Branding.
Thought it was a dig at our Brandon. That's brilliant. He organised a webinar.
If it works, the shoot bit.
Yeah, classic. I probably should have said this at the start of the webinar. We're going to do a Q&A. I'm just mindful of time, so I'm just going to wrap up the webinar and just move into the Q&A. You'll probably like this first one, Ryan. Rob from REM Consultants asked me if we want a job. So that was the first question. But
Well, I
listen,
want
Always a
to
recruiter.
yeah, recruiters straight in there trying to recruit you, Ryan. Sorry,
Yeah.
Chris, there wasn't an offer for you, I'm afraid. I'm sure they come. There's a common theme on, I think, three separate people have asked. Like we say, there's a lot of noise going on around like what tech to use. Ryan, your Wi-Fi is not the best connection, so someone's asked for us to get a little bit of a list to Ilana. So if we can write down a list, I can send her an email of some of the recommendations around what tech to use. But yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
if we can just cover that off again. What off-the-shelf automation tools would you recommend?
Is my Wi-Fi playing up? It seems it's been perfect my end.
Yeah,
But
so I should have
Yeah,
said
it's
at the
patchy, it's
start.
in and out.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
been some good
It's all right.
facial
We picked
expression
up
from
most
Ryan.
of what you said.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
you're good. You're good.
Yeah, all good. There's been a few typhoons that have just been coming through, so might be because of that. But tech-wise, Clay is good, but it's expensive.
Yeah,
You need to know how to use it and manipulate it. NAN, Common Room.
NAN. Yeah.
Common Room.
Oh,
Yeah.
common.
Apify.
Yeah.
That's your API connector. They're the main ones.
And just to
But
throw
I
it in
wouldn't go
there as
out there and
a
try.
bit of a selfish plug, what we're building now at Roy is effectively a merge of all of those products in one. So feeds beautifully into where we're going around a version of Clay to pull the data, Apify to find emails and contact details and that sort of stuff. That we're trying to bring that all into one place. It's not done yet, but that's where Roy AI is actually heading.
So Roy AI, and then we mentioned Quill and RecView.
Yeah, they're your note takers that plug into the standard. There's others out there.
Yeah.
And I think you said Atlas as a database, didn't you, Ryan?
Yeah,
That was actually one of the other questions. What CRMs would we recommend?
So across my outsourcing business, I've seen every CRM out there. Atlas, for me, is by far the most AI automation native. So it's the one that I would highly recommend.
And you, Chris?
Well, I think this side of the world, you've really got the core databases that most people use, right? It's JobAdder, it's Bullhorn. There's a couple of newer local players, and then there's the ones that are coming in like Atlas or like Loxo from offshore or Tracker. But I haven't used Atlas, so I can't offer an opinion on there. But I would say across most, they're all generally much and muchness with little bells and whistles here and there. And then it depends on what products you actually plug into them to sort of put them on steroids and actually bring your AI and automation in. But to Ryan's point, like the newer databases that are built AI and automation first likely don't need so many plugins, but then this side of the world, they've probably got problems in terms of not dealing with, local payroll integrations and that sort of stuff. It's a bit of a tricky one yet, but that's why I'm saying a bit of time before like we really know which databases are the best with AI and automation. Another 12, 18 months, we'll have a really good idea.
Yeah, nice. Next question. So what emerging tech or trends do you think will reshape how recruitment teams operate over the next few years, and which ones are just a hype? Big question.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, the answer is pretty obvious. Unfortunately, AI is going to change the game. We just don't quite know how yet, and that's the bit everyone's guessing at and trying to figure out. But we're all like, note taking is a great example. Right? We've already figured out that's a really good use for AI. It works and it solves things. So there's going to be lots of other small areas where AI solves things quickly, and then there'll be some bigger stuff. I'm paying particular attention to what the job boards are doing. So the likes of Indeed or Seek, and how they're starting to pull together effectively huge talent communities or engagement boards where they're trying to actually link the candidates and the employers together directly. I think their use of tech, we can probably learn a lot from over time, and then obviously LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, great. We may have already answered this one, but there's no reason why I can't repeat it. How can smaller or growing agencies make smart decisions about which tools to prioritize?
Yeah, my side's really simple on that. Like, keep it simple. You've got to have a good database. Speak to the people that you're hiring. What databases have they used before? Speak to your peers. Find out what database they're using, or if you've got one you're comfortable with, use that, and then bolt on a couple of things. You don't need to go crazy. You don't need to have a 10 product stack. You just need 2 or 3 products that do things really, really well. And if you're running a blue collar agency, your bottlenecks, your pain points are going to be very different from your white collar agency. So figure out where's our biggest pain, where's our biggest time suck, where's our biggest revenue opportunity, and make sure you've got technology around that. So if you're doing high volume temp, you obviously need something that deals with payroll and all that sort of stuff really, really efficiently. Whereas if you're executive search, then it's more of the stuff Ryan's talking about data mapping and actually outreach to candidates and building those communities. So you need tech in that space. So you don't need every bell and whistle that every other agency's got. You just need the ones that are right for your business at this moment in time.
Anything to add there, Ryan?
Yeah, I think it's just knowing what you want. So obviously, I think a lot of people get confused about AI and automation and what it can do, what it can't do, and a lot of people are really not sure what they're trying to achieve. So it's just getting clear on what you're looking for to solve. Start there, and then don't try and tackle everything at once. Similar to what Chris said, is start small, understand, do it in bite-sized chunks, understand all the different problems that you're trying to solve, and just tackle one at a time. Don't try and do it all at once.
Yeah. One of the biggest distractions I mentioned earlier was my inbox. I use a product called Fixer, and that manages my inbox for me. It helps automate files away, marketing or outbound sales emails. It prioritizes the emails I need to respond to. It even drafts a reply to emails as well. Not that I send those drafts every time, but it saves me hours every week. And that's just one part that I've helped automate, and it's definitely saved me a lot of time. So yeah, it's good to probably start small and sort of build up.
Another one around that, Darren, is if I mentioned speak to the recruiters you're hiring, but what a problem I often see recruitment agency leaders doing is when they're implementing tech, they actually don't reach out to the team that they have and ask them, actually understand what they're doing on a day-to-day basis and what tools they're using. Because your tool that you're using for your email there, I guarantee everyone else at APositive probably isn't using that tool, right? So if you speak to your staff and find out what they're using, the chances are they might be using something really cool that's actually solving problems, but the rest of the business aren't aware of it, and they could pull it in, or they've changed a process themselves, and actually it's better than the process you had already. So don't just look externally, particularly if you're a bigger business. Look internally. What did your team use in a previous business? Ask some questions about it, what worked, what didn't work, and use that information to help you evolve your own strategy.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea. Yeah, we've got an internal guy that manages all the tech that everyone uses and kind of shares it across the business, so everyone else could use that product if they wanted to. It looks like those are all the questions, unless anyone else wants to. Well, oh no, there is one more. Will this recording be available to listen to offline? Yep, yes, John, it will be. Once you've downloaded the recording, it'll be put up on the website. We share it via an email as well, so you can download it. Well, I think we'll leave it there, guys. It was really, really insightful. Thanks for sharing your time. If people want to reach out to you, what's the best way to speak to you? Is it an email or a phone call?
Don't send you an email, mate.
Don't.
Phone call, WhatsApp, LinkedIn. Yeah. LinkedIn's probably best, and then we can organise to catch up.
Sounds good. And same for you, Chris.
Yeah, 100%.
Wonderful. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Have a wonderful day. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Darren. Thanks, Ryan. Catch you later.
Cheers, Chris. Bye-bye.